I'd like to talk to you about how to be an effective leader. And a leader, whether you're leading people, whether you are leading a team, whether you're leading clients in a decision, really doesn't matter. What I'm going to talk about here in a minute applies to all areas. First of all, let me welcome you and thank you for coming and watching. If you're a regular viewer, thanks for coming back. If you're first time, hope you like what you see. And if you do like it, push subscribe and like, because we always appreciate the support. And any ideas for topics. If there's something that really resonates, we will get to them at some point, so you may see your topic show up here. Okay, so let me talk about how you can be a more effective leader. And I want to get into particularly focusing on emotions. What I'm going to share with you, and I won't go into detail, but if I think back relating to this topic in my own journey, I can tell you about stuff that I've done wrong. And quite frankly, what I did in the past as I was leading a team, whether I had a larger team with my organization or whether I was president of an association, wherever, I learned how not to do things, and then from that learned how to do it. So experience will teach you. But what I want to focus on here is some of the things I've learned from clients that I've been coaching and where I've observed people that actually come into the meeting with me and say, you know, Ralph, my manager, my supervisor, whatever, he or she did this, and this has absolutely just pushed me back by a mile. I don't trust them now. I can't stay engaged with them, right? I can't follow. So let me start with a very quick, here's what not to do. And I'm not going to give you a list because you can probably come up with your own list pretty darn quick. But how I want you to think of this is if you think back, maybe somebody you're working with now or in the past, that you would hold up as the poster child for how not to be a leader. You look at them and you can see very quickly what they do that didn't work. Suffice to say that if you look at what they've done that push you back, don't do that, okay? So I'm not going to give you a list of what to do. I want to focus on what to do. So let's go there right now. So here are a couple of tips on how to be an effective leader by using your emotions and building really strong relations. So the first thing I want to talk about is emotional self-awareness and emotional openness. This is often also referred to as emotional intelligence or EI or EQ, all terms that are synonymous with this. If you are not aware that your emotions are a key factor in how you lead and building trust, then quite frankly, that's a blind spot you need to develop. If you are aware of this, then what I'm going to encourage you to do is to continue on that path, because we all know that people do not follow people they don't trust. And the way that people become trustworthy is based on how they communicate and how they interact, not only professionally in terms of doing their job and being competent and being effective and moral and ethical, all that important stuff, but really being authentic emotionally. So emotional authenticity comes down to being open, to being vulnerable, to being transparent. So if you are leading a team and you appear to be cool and unapproachable, it's like an invisible force field. People will be held back. If you don't have the self-awareness around this, you may actually want to go to some of the people that you work with that you know well and trust, and that would use an opportunity to give you feedback, not as a reason to kick you and put you down, but actually say, okay, well, let me give you some feedback about what I've heard or what I've seen. Here's some tips for you to improve your effectiveness. So leadership really is a journey. It's a journey of self-discovery, self-awareness, and then self-improvement. And that self-improvement, because we're talking about emotions here, is emotional authenticity and openness, as I said a minute ago. So what does that mean for you in terms of moving forward? It means maybe that whole issue of EQ is something you need to develop further and become even stronger. Think of it as a muscle that needs to be exercised. If you don't have this, here's an analogy that I often like to use. I find leaders that are really emotionally uptight or emotionally constipated, as I like to call it, or verklempt is another way to describe this. People are just uncomfortable around them. Why? Because they're uncomfortable in their own skin. And you know what I'm talking about. You can probably think of someone that comes into the room, he sits down. I'm thinking of a guy right now. And the irony of this individual I'm thinking of is he is a leader of an organization and a large team. And when he comes into the room, I've observed this firsthand, people pull back. It's like the temperature's been turned down, or we just gave everybody a wet, cold blanket. And how are you just think about it. He's coming to tell people what to do and how to inspire and motivate them, and they're all concerned about what this might mean to them if they don't do it right, and if he's going to get them. So just check the temperature in the room when you walk in. Does it go up because it warms up and it's positive and pleasant, or does it go down? And you can see this from body language. If you go back to some of my videos and you stay tuned, we're going to keep talking more about emotional and relational clues that you can tap into that will let you see when you're hitting the mark with your people and when you're not. Okay, so that's for another topic for another day. But as you become more self-aware around this, It's something that you're going to have to get input from others. Maybe you want to get a coach. Maybe you want to, there's a great tool called the Johari window where you can help people, or where people can help you, to find the blind spot and provide insight and awareness. Assessment tools, personality profiles, these are all things that will provide clues and insight for you to get better at this. But at the end of the day, what you've got to do is be willing to do this. It's a big step, but if you're a leader and you're committed to becoming a better leader, then this is one of the key hallmarks of effective leaders. It's emotional authenticity and openness and approachability.